Hey, what's up guys, One Tech Traveler here. You're joining me in Ask Me Anything video series number 4, where I answer questions from you about my trip, travel, lifestyle and tech. This week brings me to Shi Hotel in Simsachoy, and I'm here to answer the 5 questions that you sent this week. The first question is actually about the recent Typhoon Khanun. What was your first experience of it in Hong Kong? The observatory signal in Hong Kong that monitors the typhoons actually upgraded it to signal number 8 out of 10. I was sort of bracing myself for something quite bad because Typhoon Hato a couple of months ago was rated at 10, and that was devastating across Hong Kong, Macau and elsewhere. I'd go out into the streets in the morning. I was actually going to go to a cafe nearby, but all of the shops were shuttered, and I thought, oh, this is eerily quiet for Sunday, especially busy Hong Kong, but it made sense because of the typhoon. Overall, it wasn't actually as bad in the end. You get some flash heavy rains from time to time, and the main thing is actually the wind gusts. They can be strong from points in time, but overall it wasn't really much different from the UK when you get torrential rain, because the typhoon was actually quite deep into the sea, and then the government downgraded it to 1. A mild experience fortunately, but we are in typhoon season and actually headed towards Vietnam, so I hope Vietnam was not hit that bad, but overall it was okay. Second question is about the new Surface Book 2 and what are my thoughts about it. So Microsoft and Panos Panay announced the new successor to the Surface Book line, simply Surface Book 2, and they made some much needed upgrades to the internals, so it's more about the component upgrades for your overall performance rather than anything visually different with the hardware. You're still looking at the same screen size at 13.5 inches with a resolution of 3000 by 2000, and you still have the fulcrum hinge, that is the spine that connects the detachable screen and the keyboard base. But there have been 2 changes. One is they've announced a bigger version, so you have a 15-inch that goes really head-to-head with Apple's MacBook Pro across both screen sizes, a much upgraded graphics card than the original, and even the Surface Book with performance base. The other part is actually the hinge itself. It's 40% stronger now, which means the screen's not gonna wobble, so now it's a lot more sturdier, much more rigid, and it's held in place by an upgraded mechanical system. They've really beefed up the graphics cards now and are much more powerful than what you find in the MacBook Pro. But on the 13-inch you'll get the NVIDIA GTX 1050, and it's not the mobile version, which means you get added grunt and added performance for all your heavy video editing. But if you go for the 15-inch, then you do get the NVIDIA GTX 1060. It may seem like an incremental upgrade from the 1050, but the performance can actually be quite noticeable. We'll have the latest 8th generation Intel Core processor that goes up to i7, so you're really getting a powerful premium notebook that professionals can take on the go. The third question, what SD card do you use? So I use SanDisk across all my different cameras, compact, mobile phone, my drone, and they perform flawlessly. So I go for the ones which have the higher bit rates. The SanDisk SD card, where it's gold, reads up to 90 megabytes per second. You want to go for the faster ones if you are planning to record in like 4K, which has high bit rates, or much larger data files that need to transfer to make sure you're not getting any video clipping. In terms of capacity, I found 128GB storage is a sweet spot, balancing the price, which is around £30 or 300 Hong Kong dollars, with enough space that you will never sort of hit the ceiling, gives you additional buffer, and it means you don't have to change it as often or transfer data all the time. But that's the one that I go for, so SanDisk, but your Lexar, your Samsung, those brands as well are very good. Just make sure you're going for the card that is suitable for you and going through official channels to purchase the memory cards. Fourth question, thoughts on the changes to Monzo for your trip? Monzo just recently published their article on the finalized pricing for those looking to use abroad, which does impact me and how I've been using it in Hong Kong. You have £200 as an allowance that you can take out the ATM free. Anything above £200 then will be subject to 3% transaction fees. So it's actually more expensive than Revolut, and I would have been more comfortable with £300, especially for when I'm doing my long-term travels, and when you're going to countries that are more cash-based, particularly Japan, then I'm sort of thinking about that, and Monzo is sort of my default format of how I pay. However, it's not the end of the world. You try and make sure you're doing card transactions direct to the merchant, the restaurants, the shops, where those payments are still going to be fee-free, and you will always get the wholesale MasterCard rate. It means if you have £200 allowance, just one withdrawal, take out £200. If you don't have a current card and you are still on the prepaid account when it goes live, then you're only allowed one free withdrawal. Anything after that, even though you haven't hit your allowance, will be the 3%, but Monzo's expecting to roll out the current accounts to everyone. Good thing is you do have 2 months notice, so from December 18, that's when it goes full in effect, and I would have been done in Hong Kong and would be in South Korea, so I won't see any problems using it here until then. And then the final question is, any mishaps on your trip so far? Generally, it's been great. I haven't had any real problems, and I've really settled in here and enjoying living out here like a local. I've only had one so far, and actually it's my luggage where one of my wheels broke off, so it was full and you could roll it along the surface. But now it's only on 3, so I'm doing a balancing act using the handle. It keeps making a squeaking noise and it can get very loud. Probably the worst time is when you're on NTR very busy and you hear this sort of duck squeaking noise along the way. But 3 weeks into my trip and for 9 months total, then it's not something that you think about, but it happens. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed AMA number 4. Thanks a lot for your questions, and again, do get involved by sending me your questions on Twitter, Instagram direct messenger, Facebook page, or leave a comment down below on this video on YouTube, and I'll make sure to answer your question for next week. If you haven't yet, do subscribe for more awesome videos like this one by clicking the button down here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next AMA next Friday, but until then, keep being awesome.